Chapter 14. The Fields That Guide You Home. I suspect very much, dear reader, that you can see the fallacies in sending a little white rabbit off to he doesn't know where because he's never been, to look for he doesn't know who because he's never met them. You must be under no illusions that having only the judgment of his heart to guide him through all this wouldn't eat up an exorbitant amount of time, because, in fact, it did. But eventually, he was able to find his way home again with an outlander hot on his heels. Their re-entry into the kingdom sounded like a childish joke. Humorous gossip about a funny-sounding, funny-looking, and in some cases, even funny-smelling stranger who had managed to fall down a hole and was rather obsessively chasing the Queen's advisor from border to border. Unusual as they appeared, they were a friendly sort. They were thoughtful, strong, and highly receptive of the impossible. Their natural magnetism meant that White's chosen one had arrived and would soon be delivered to the castle, where they'd receive the armor, weapons, and training needed to fight. And so came the time for Red to parley with hers. Jabberwockies, her inspiration for destruction. The scent of the princess hadn't wafted outside Blacksuit before, hadn't been caught alone so close to the boundary of their territory. It would attract attention. She wanted it to. She essentially invaded their domain, with every single eye, fang, and claw invested in her beating down the door. She was there for one of them, but not just any. She came to meet the Alpha. She strutted up to that kingless plateau, calling him like a dog with a whistle that repelled the lesser beasts like vampires from the sun. No answer. She hooted again, and the sounds of smashing bones, whooshing wings, and cries of pain knelled back, fusing to the air around her. They told louder and closer until she got an inkling she should move, quickly. Red narrowly missed being horribly mangled by two falling Jabberwockies, stacked one on top of the other. Just as they crashed, she dodged the wreckage in a half-blink, half-cartwheel. Her reflexes carried so much momentum, she had to deploy her nails as brakes to prevent sliding backwards off the cliff. Saving herself, her sight was muddied by a thin layer of mist the smackdown had produced. She went to stand, but froze in her kneeling position as a pair of colossal heads rose above it. And as it dissipated, she was able to see why exactly she picked the worst possible time to come barging in. The sight was unmistakable. A typical adult Jabberwocky pinned to his back, made completely vulnerable to the second, and he had to have been at least double the size of the opponent trapped beneath him. Besides such attributes, dubbing him the biggest and the strongest Jabberwocky she'd ever seen, its cosmetic features were also extraordinary. The moon's illumination gave a whitish albino appearance, an iridescent effect concealing his actual lavender coloring. Where teal and purple feathers were known, were a mixture of glacier blue and a sparkling reflective and crystal-like silver. Its face shared much of the bluish color, though the horns were larger and angled differently. He was a rarity in the genetics of the species at this point in Wonderland's history, and the one that would be the key to altering it. The will to fight had not been deflated in the black Jabberwocky. Defiantly, he hissed, bit, and scratched at his superior, trying to get out, trying to exploit some damage or injury in him. He lost, clearly, but the taste of victory didn't appeal to the Alpha and their gladiatorial way of life. He continued attacking his wayward brethren, cerebrally targeting the jaw with anvil-like headbutts. The beating was severe but not long-lasting. A grotesque snapping signified that he bore straight through the bone, whereby eliminating the competition's ability to open or close its mouth voluntarily. He was now free to do with the black Jabberwocky as he pleased. Batting it around to make certain that the jaw was indeed broken and hanging. He then picked it up by the still intact upper jaw and juggled it around so that he could fit its entire head, snout and all, in its mouth. When positioned to his liking, he regurgitated a powerful burst of purplish blue flame down its throat. It burned so hotly that it was instantly cremated, inside and out. And when he decapitated its head, there was nothing left but ash and cauterized pieces. With it finished, the Alpha triumphantly stood on his hind legs, declaring the victory he desired over the executed. His roars quaked through the heavens, and his fiery breath lit up the night, a warning as much as an invitation to the next in line wishing to test their might against him, that yet another had failed to unseat him. He was still their leader, and as many as would dare question that dominance was as many as he was willing to kill as an example of why. Quite riled up from the battle, he returned to all fours as his attention and snow-white, blue-sky speckled eyes fell upon the hooded woman knelt across from him. Instantly locking into an agitated posture, he put on a display of behaviors meant to intimidate this new challenger. Mighty Dervaronth, king of your kind. Her introduction to this astonishing specimen was met only with further threats of aggression. She put a hand out and stood ground of her own, fearlessly trying to dissuade him from wanting another fight. If you can understand me, then hear me. I am not your rival, nor am I any extension of your master's. I make no demands of you. Instead, I've come to humbly ask for your help. Revealing herself and rising when she saw his body language start to relax and simmer, she explained her wishes further. My beloved sister refuses to face me, lacks even a sliver of the decency to let me defend myself, and yet she's so confident in my defeat. She's dangling my kingdom, my queenship, from the hands of some outlander. She makes a mockery of the Grey One's prophecy, but I won't. I can't. Not when my very survival depends on this duel of ours. Something the Jabberwocky and I have in common. So, I've come to their favorite son. I shouldn't think I'll have to detail what your recruitment means for you. Another opportunity to fight and destroy. What do you think that level of fear would do to the newcomer's foreign smell? The exotic taste. Red seduced as she crept nearer, reaching into her cloak to fetch a minimally rigor mortis offering tied to her hip. As she threw it, and it slid in front of the alpha, she went on. In case that's not enough to entice, I've brought you a gift, a little token of our relationship, shall we say? A freshly killed rabbit, minus the head, of course. My trophy of the hunt. He cautiously sniffed it, then let out a chuff and hiss of pleasure while stepping over it protectively, expressing acceptance of the bribe. There's plenty more where that came from as well, she said, watching him do so. Kill the stranger, win me my prize, and I will see to it that your hunts are endless. You will be permitted to expand your territory anywhere you'd like, outside of those dreadful Celtic lands. I will fill your bellies and quench your bloodthirst with the finest prey Wonderland can offer, be it animal or man. An easy bargain, and this newly forged partnership took off to await and fantasize about the day that Red's injustice would be rectified. They flew swiftly over Blacksuit, not thinking of the aunt and uncle who wouldn't be so easily fooled. They heard the distinguishable roars of their most cherished warhound and knew what had been done. So she's chosen her champion, then. Derveronth, Club said from under an impressed smirk. His wife was unamused, scowling from the chair beside him. She wanted to race to the door and put a stop to the pair, but was prevented when her husband gripped her arm to hold her down. No, my love, this could be the catalyst for the events the master mentioned. Intervening too early would mean costing us our chance. Her eyes were a wildfire of exclamation, lasers scorching him with 1,000 different hysterical words, and he swept this reaction under the rug. Yes, it's a tragedy to see what our nieces are devolving to, and it's unfortunate that Red has now implicated us in her campaign wherever it leads. But we may be able to manipulate and twist this to our advantage, create the opening we're looking for. We see the stage, and we know the roles. But until we figure out where we enter the play, we do as we have been. We sit, we wait, we do nothing. And so it was in battle that human clashed with monster. So it was that, as impossible, unthinkable, unfathomable, an outlander's sword vanquished the immortal horror. prophecy fulfilled, be it this way or another, meant by decree, the crown must cast out her dismayed and defeated sister. Heartbroken, she listened as her sibling vowed to return, her vengeance knowing no humane bounds. The queen's kingdom would become hers to burn. Tortured to the soul, White commanded the exiled one to go, whispering words from the heart she hoped the eldest would know. Silently she prayed that the gods' will not last an eternity long. Inside her mind she cried out this promise like a song. I shall always meet your fury with unrelenting love. I will always challenge your rage with elegance, grace from above. Though you are angry now, be not afraid, for I'll be right beside you. Wherever you go, in this time of disdain, I beg, let me come too. Take me as your passenger, staying somewhere within. Let me be your voice of reason, compassion, the longing where your journey back begins. And along the way, should you feel loss, forgottenness, or weariness setting in, each day you're gone, I'll plant one red flower to comfort you in a field of roses to guide you home again. That's going to wrap yet another episode up for us, guys. I know this one was a little bit shorter, but I kind of want to keep things uniform. So I think what I'm going to try to do, just to keep things moving along here at a pretty decent pace, is that even if I don't manage to fit 2 chapters in a single episode, I'll just upload 2 episodes. So essentially, that Monday, Wednesday, Friday type scenario, you're probably, at least for this week, I don't know about the foreseeable future quite yet. We'll see how it goes, but at least for this week. So you'll be seeing this video on Wednesday. This will be the second video that gets uploaded on Wednesday. Probably going to do the same for Friday. We'll do hopefully one video, chapter 15 and 16. If not, we'll do chapter 15 and 16 as separate videos uploaded the same day so that we can start clean with the third the third section, chapter 17 and forward, the next week. So yeah, we'll just try to clean it up a little bit, try to stay on task, on track here, and get through this as quick as we can so we can move on to other things. But I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, guys, we'll see you in the next one.